We are kicking off today with Norway versus the Czech Republic. And here are the decks, here are the picks, here are the bans. Norway have had their Combo Priest banned, Czech Republic have had their Rogue banned. And the shields are interesting here, Lorinda. As yesterday the players were saying, I expect to see Shaman shielded all the time. Norway have shielded their Warrior, Czech Republic have shielded their Priest. What do you make of that?
It is really interesting how trying to sneak the Shaman in, because those Holy Wraths counter it so well. It's not quite the dominant force in this exact meta as it might be on ladder, where you probably wouldn't run into a Holy Wrath Paladin at the time. Reminder, these were played before the nerfs. That Highlander Rogue was perceived as a very good deck at the time. And just taking Priest away from Hunter Ace is always fun, right?
Yep, that's definitely reasonable. And as you can see, these are some pretty strange decks that we've got here. Norway with their, looks like a very dragon-heavy warrior, as there were 2 Dragon's Roars in the Mulligan.
Yeah, and interesting that they didn't keep them. Dragon's Roar fits in very nicely on turn 2. Obviously, the main purpose of it is it's just an enabler for all your dragon cards, of which there are plenty in the deck. And interesting to me, they're looking for something different against the Priest. It's just too slow, I guess. It's turn 2 Dragon's Roar, you're doing nothing against Combo Priest, you might be dead. So looking for more proactive answers and just trusting the rest of the dragons in the deck, of which there are not many, to make an appearance.
But yeah, we are seeing quite a few new cards in addition in NTR's deck, and including, despite the fact it is not a Highlander deck, including Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, which in itself is an interesting statement he's making. He's saying that, I'm not going to need to play Alexstrasza until I've used up all the cards in my deck, or most of the cards in my deck.
Yeah, it is still fundamentally a control deck. In fact, it's probably more controlling even than some of the more traditional warriors. You don't do much at all on the first 2 or 3 turns. That's sort of why I was talking about the Dragon's Roar. But against Priest, it's probably not quite as good. You've lost some of your removal. You've still got quite a lot, actually. You've still got the Shield Slams, you've still got the Warpath, so you should be okay. And the addition of Molten Breath allowing you to deal with those buffed clerics should you need to. Although they're going to need to, because Czech Republic is off to a very, very good Priest start, drawing lots of cards, cycling through that deck, getting all the bits and pieces they need.
Yep, NTR is going to have to do everything that he can to shut these Priest minions down as fast as possible. Going to go ahead and deal with the Cleric, but as we can see, there's another one ready. But now the question for Jarla is, can I afford to play this and potentially have it killed off? Maybe I need to keep hold of it and go for a big card draw later on.
Yeah, and can I afford not to is also the question. Like, if you don't play it now and you go for the big card draw later, when you get to turn 5 against most control warrior decks in 2019, you start to struggle. They can remove a thing pretty much every turn from that point on. Obviously, no Dynamatic is the payoff, but is the trade-off for having Molten Breath. But I think it's a trade-off well worth making. You get the removal a turn earlier. So yeah, they're just going to draw through and try and get stuff quickly while they still can.
There's the Divine Spirit as well to go with the extra arms. Jarla starting to get these tools together.
This turn is the main turn of decisions for the entire game for me here for Norway. This coin obviously looks really tasty going into your 5s, but you really want to get this Molten Breath onto the Cleric now. With both Clerics dealt with, unless there's a Psycho Pump, then you've got rid of them forever.
What now?
But obviously the rest of the deck, yeah.
For anyone that hasn't seen Molten Breath yet, it is a new 4-mana spell, deal 5 damage to a minion, and if you're holding a dragon, extra bonus, gain 5 armor. Could be relevant in this matchup.
Indeed it could. And it's interesting what conclusions the players came to. These decks were submitted last Sunday, very quickly. So obviously Norway have just valued this dragon package better than Rogue, which is really interesting to me. I think they're one of the very few teams not to bring Rogue at all. Rogue, on day 1, Rogue was the best deck, I felt. A lot of people say it was Shaman, but there was a Rogue variant with Cairn going about that seemed to beat Shaman at the time.
Yep.
And so to not play it at all and to decide that you're going to play this controlling element, very interesting decision.
can we just make a comment about how good that Dragon's Pact was as well? Not Dragon's Pact, sorry. Dragon's Roar.
Yeah.
Caligos? Yeah, okay. Caligos is great. Discover a warrior spell every turn, have a spell cost 0. That seems strong. And Nithog, not quite as strong, but still very powerful. Specifically, I think against Priest, because Nithog is... The Priest doesn't have minions on the board. It can really allow NTR to snowball his way into the lead when it comes to board presence and keep that Priest off of the board for good.
Yep, if they can just clear up this one more board now, I think they'll be okay. But clearing it up, not the easiest thing. Getting rid of the Cleric again, they're concerned about Psycho Pump. If they get rid of the Cleric here, they can get rid of a minion of their choosing. But which one? I think you kind of have to. It looks like they are going to. And of course, now they've set up that recursive damage, they can clear up minions very easily from here in with the Super Collider. Chip damage, not really a big factor. Obviously, it's irritating, but not something you're too terrified of. Just got to get rid of the things. Warrior is very, very good at going 1-for-1 with cards. So if you get to a situation where the Priest is just playing a minion every turn out of hope, then the Warrior should get it done. But at the moment, still plenty of gas in the tank for the Czech Republic.
I must consider.
Yeah, the card draw has dried up, so they're going to have to get it done with what they've got.
For the next few turns, at least. But then Bronsamdi is going to do something quite significant by pulling the rest of these 1-mana cards out of the deck. Taking a quick look at what's left, though, I think we're looking at, what, 1 Light Warden? We're looking at 1 Beaming Sidekick? Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
both Clerics had already been played. So Jarla is going to need more than just that Bronsamdi. And TR just needs to stabilize.
Is going to allow the clear if they want here. Just a case of whether they want to do anything else. Like you say, stabilizing is now an issue. That chip damage has become a bit more than chip damage. It's become relevant damage. And they'll be looking to get down that Ember Scale Drake, dominate the board that way as soon as possible.
So the nice thing about Ziliax is that, as well as clearing the board and healing like Molten Breath would have done, it also allows that extra heal, as Jarla is going to have to put the Weapons Project weapon into Ziliax as well, getting NTR back up to 13. And as we all know about Priest, this Priest deck specifically, if they have no minions on the board, they are not dealing any damage.
Yeah, and Czech Republic have all the tools here to win a game of Hearthstone against a blank board. Yeah, they have the Light One, they have the Blade Masters, they have the Inner Device bit, they have the Silence. They can pretty much get through. But the Warrior has now turned the corner. It's in a position where it can start to dominate the board itself. And when Warriors have 2 or 3 minions down, there is nothing you can do to run them out of removal. Because they just use their minions as removal and pick up the bits and pieces with their remaining cards. So I think it's all in time here for the Czech Republic. They know that Warrior hand will be full of roughly 5 drops. That's kind of how it works. And they've just got to pick a card they think they can not beat. So, like, say if there's a brawl we lose, and just pick which card it is you want to not play around and go for it now. Go back to that decision to play Super Collider earlier on with a coin. That's worked out extremely, extremely well for them. It's just allowed them to keep chipping away at these last few Priest minions.
So Molten Breath very nicely deals with either of these minions, and Shield Slam will deal with the other. So
yeah,
a perfect clear for NTR, and then only Bronsamdi for Jarla, which granted NTR will not have a way of dealing with immediately. Then again, Super Collider into Molten Breath, and then Shield Slam the next threat, right?
Yeah, you can even play the Ember Scale Drake to activate the Shield Slam. and use your Super Collider to take down the other minion.
Right, so I mean, I'm looking at Super Collider now, Molten Breath to deal with the other minion, and then next turn, Ember Scale Drake into Shield Slam is a guaranteed clear pretty much on a single minion next turn, which as we can see, as we go into turn 7 and what NTR will be expecting, single minion is what's coming right up.
Yeah, and this has allowed them to get that 7 armor, which is relevant, of course, here. They would have been worried about not only this, but also High Priest Amet, so 7 was a very important number to get to. And somehow Wasabi is just not as terrifying when you've already killed both clerics.
And also, this is what I was saying about Nithog. I mean, NTR managed to get that turn where he got the Nithog down. Obviously, we know the priest cannot do anything about this because when they've got nothing on the board, they can't deal any damage. So next turn, NTR is going to have a 5/5 and 2 4/4s with Rush. Anything that Yara plays here will be able to be dealt with by NTR's board alone.
Like the hot air balloon, it's only a one-of in their deck. And obviously, it's not where they want to be right now, but for how priest functions, the increasing health is just an increasing threat over time. With an Inner Fire, that can become a very big minion very, very quickly.
It's pretty good in quite a few decks, actually, as we've seen recently. Very similar to Arcane Anomaly. I believe that was what the card was called.
Which one was that? My brain forgets cards as soon as they've left the meta.
It was, as I quickly Google to check that I've got the right one. Yes, I do. It was a 1-mana 2/1, but whenever you cast a spell, it gained an extra health.
Sure, yeah.
It's very similar to that, except you don't need to cast the spells, the health goes up every single turn.
Well, they have managed to generate some action here. Getting back the 7/7's a big deal. How are they going to deal with this? I mean, obviously, the instant thing you see is brawl into Warpath and hope things don't go wrong. If things do go wrong, though, you're in a world of trouble if you do that.
I wonder.
You're expecting to die next turn. Well, 14. It's not the same as dying, but you don't know what else is going on in the hand.
It feels like dying. It does feel like dying, doesn't it? I mean, NTR can gain a lot of armor, but again, with the looming threat of Divine Spirits, doesn't feel like enough. Amazing, actually, that Yarlo was able to come up with a minion so powerful. That Psycho Bomb really did the work.
Interesting that they chose to kill the balloon before going for the brawl as well. They rated that as enough of a threat. They didn't want it winning the brawl.
But there you go. Dealt with. Your move, Jarla, and there's really not that much you've got going on here.
Yeah, and they know it. This one is now unofficially donezo, as far as I'm concerned.
Unofficially donezo, I like it.
Only Yala could think for half his turn with 6 mana of cards in his hand, 9 mana available, whether to heal now or whether to heal something else that isn't injured because there's not an injured card in his hand.
And then do nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. Yeah, they go for the big turn.
Well, excuse me. Deathwing picked up means that NTR will have an answer for both Deathwings picked up. Means that NTR will have 2 sets of answers for anything put in the way. But with the evasive Draken in there, down on the board now, Yarla now gets the Divine Spirit. That's it. I would say this game has gone from unofficially over pretty much to officially over.
Wow.
Except Yarla's not ready to give up just yet. It's just not possible for the priest to come back from this. Well, I'm looking at NTR's hand as well, obviously. Khalek goes into shield block. Come on. Come on.
Yala's been doing well on ladder. I don't know how high he got, but he's been top 10. I'm absolutely sure of it in the last few days.
Oh, NTR. Disappoint me.
for Doomhammer!
The light shall bring victory. I wonder.
Is someone injured?
Let's move quickly.
I hope you like my invention.
I must consider.
I've got more left in me!
Is someone injured?
Job's done. What to do? What to do?
Double the power, double the storm!
I must consider. I wonder. Not too quickly.
I see a dark future.
In the light's name.
How about a new life? How about a new life?
Not too quickly. I wonder.
Hey, I got you, friend.
I wonder.
Clear the path!
Mortals are so squishy. The end begins.
Someone injured? In the light's name.
Life is an afterthought.
Not too quickly.
How about a new life? How about a new life? How about a new life?
Hey, I got you, friend.
It is game number 3 between Czech Republic and Norway. I believe that we are back. Casters have been unsapped, unfortunately for you guys. But Lorinda, that was a pretty good game for Czech Republic. Do you think they can keep it up?
Yeah, it's so hard to call this at the moment, but looking at what is left, yeah, they've beaten the Shaman in a game. That's a good deal for them right now. And they could well beat it in another game now because they've got the Holy Wrath Paladin, the counter, in air quotes, to the Shaman deck. So very good chance to go 2-1 ahead here.
Galakron Shaman struggling a little bit last game, but this game, Hunter Ace has made his intentions quite clear. It's in the mulligan. It's the only card he's holding on to. Galakron, Azeroth's End. Here we go.
Yep, just do some invoking. Oh, the Albatross is coming to play as well. That will slow the Paladin down a touch. That might make the matchup more palatable. And not a lot going on in the hand here for Czech Republic. I mean, Paladin hands always look like there's not much going on, but double banker is really not what you want in your opener.
No, I mean, Banker is one of those cards which is, for all intents and purposes, dead until the end of the game. With any combo deck, ideally, you want to draw your late game combo cards later on and start by drawing the cards that get you to the late game. So, unfortunately, that's not going to work out for the time being.
Yeah, and turn 3 is looking not very good at all for them. Really don't want to use up your Pyromancer. That's there to get rid of 8/8s later on, alongside equality, etc. But Thalnos a nice pickup, gives them something to do this turn. Quite instructive here from Yala. One of the first things you learn when you get better at Hearthstone is don't automatically play the card you just drew that looks like it got you out of a spot. Just reanalyze your hand, make sure it is what you want to do. It's probably the #1 cause of mistakes by sort of decent players, is just to have a hand that's doing nothing, pick up a card that does something and instantly play it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's quite often correct to do so.
Bad Luck Albatross, again, Lorinda. It's there in the hand. It's playable this turn for Hunter Race, and it's not looking bad. We saw New Zealand try to use Bad Luck Albatross to counter Holy Wrath Paladin, and although they were not successful, that's not to say the card is bad in the matchup by any means, but instead Hunter Race is going to go for full-on pressure. And I like this. Maniac into Maniac, with Dragon's Pact the turn after, and then Galakron coming up, maybe on turn 7, maybe on turn 8. This is looking fantastic.
Yeah, full-on play around Consecration here, so I expect the 1/1 to be traded into. Getting rid of the Thalnos was protecting your 2/3 minion because of Thalnos. But now they've evolved into a 4/6. Might be tempting not to care about Consecration because you're going to get hit for so much if you play Consecration anyway. But I imagine we'll see the 1/1 taken care of to stop it bumping into the Sludge Surfer. Yeah, doing it this way around because it is actually an extra point of damage to the face. This turn looks weird, trading the 2/1, but you want all the damage you can get to the face as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. And now for Yala, how does he unfairly defend themselves? Subdue Pyromancer is an option. It kind of looks necessary here. That Spiteful Smith, which was the creation of the Maniac, having value traded and then mutated. That's an amazing little stat buff there. 2/1 to 4/6.
Yeah, it's huge. That's why they paused for so long after they did it before making the trades, because it affected everything about the Consecration. You weren't really expecting something so tidy to come out. 5 drops, you do expect that sort of stat line, or at least 4 or 5. But as much as you expect it, you don't get it as often as you would think.
And I was thinking for a second there, was the Pyromancer really necessary? Maybe Yala could have just played the Subdue and on the 4/6 and passed. But no, because the threat of another Mutate is always there when it comes to Shaman, so he had to get rid of it entirely.
Yeah, very messy indeed.
But now the second Maniac, or rather the Elemental it summons, will deal with the Pyromancer, and the Dragon's Pack is available to play next turn. And yeah, that's the way Hunter Race is going. This is quite straightforward at the moment.
Yeah, just looking through this as well. We haven't seen it yet, but there was a bug last week where when you invoked and then you messed around at the same time when you drew cards, the whole game just went down for a moment if you had a battle cry effect.
Oh yeah.
I don't think we've got any quest shamans, so we might be okay.
I'm pretty certain that was hotfixed quite quickly as well. I'm pretty sure before these games took place.
Okay. You could get back in time if you knew it existed, which these players would have as well. Alright, so there is the Pyro Equality. They are saved for now, but they know what's in Hunter Race's hand. He kept 1 card for Mulligan, and he hasn't played it.
Yeah, that is quite obvious. I believe Hunter still needs another invoke or two in order to get the full-on Galakrond effect with the claw at the 8/8s.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think he's played 2.
You do want the claw, I think, in this matchup. You probably want to get that claw.
Oh, goodness, yeah. Heavy size there from both the Czech Republic players. They're just taking too much damage. Turns out that 5/6s, a pair of them for 5 mana, is just rather good. Did get an indirect nerf, though, of course, now. Very hard to actually play them on turn 5 since the nerf.
Ooh, that's another invoke. Clearly, it's not the last one needed, because if it was, I think Hunter Ace would just go ahead and play it this turn. So, instead, go with the Sludge Slurper. And it's just another big board that needs to be dealt with. And Yarlath does not have a way to deal with it.
I think they were willing to postpone the Galakrond because they knew that the Paladin was running out of options to deal with it here. And this is a massive deal if Norway can get this game over the line. This is the reason to bring Holy Wrath Paladin is to beat the Shaman deck. Your mileage may vary, but that was the plan. At least Jarl as well this week. He played the second round of this tournament from his bed. Because Fraley was sat in the seat and Jarl was sort of shouting instructions from the other side of the room.
Oh, of course, yeah, I've forgotten about that.
He was really ill, yeah. So good to see him up and well.
I must move quickly. Let me.
Wow. I mean, there's obviously things they can do, but the reason they're taking so long is none of the things they can do are good. And they've just decided,
Yep.
You can kill me, kill me, yeah.
Remove 2 damage from the board. That's the best we got. There's 10 damage there. To be fair, Galakrond Shaman doesn't tend to have a huge amount of burst damage from the hand, unlike some of the older and even some more recent Shaman tend to have. The only real burst damage Galakrond's got is the claw from Galakrond itself. Otherwise, Yala realistically is just looking at the damage on the board, plus any spells generated from an Ethereal Lackey.
Yep, that's a big deal. So they do have a little time. They need to get drawing cards. They've still got 12 cards left. I normally, when I'm casting Holy Wrath Paladin, look about now and say, well, they've got a lot of cards still to go. And then look and it's 4. But 12 actually is still quite a lot of cards because they didn't draw enough of their card draw early. And they haven't had a chance to play their card draw since because they've been busy all hands on deck just not losing the game. And that Albatross isn't going to help that situation. Double timeout now, though. So they can probably start to consider ways to get to the end of their deck. And this is where playing against Hunter Ace is very different from playing against people on ladder. Because you know he's not just going to play an overly wide board into your removal or whatever.
Maybe he's having if he's having an off day.
Yeah, or if he thinks it's good, yeah. If he makes a misread, maybe, yeah.
I don't think Hunter Ace has off days, Lorinda.
Unless you talk to Hunter Ace himself, in which case he'll tell you that every day is an off day.
I mean, to be fair, yes, sure, he has off days, but his off days are like way better than my best ever days are.
Exactly.
That's how good his off days are.
Move quickly.
Yeah, when he explains his misplays to you, it's very interesting a lot of the time.
Like, it's not next level, it's about 3 levels after that.
Right, to the point where most people, even the top players, will be saying to him, well, don't beat yourself up about that one, you couldn't avoid it or whatever. And he'll be like, no, I could avoid it. Absolutely could have avoided it. I should have known because X, Y, Z. This is obvious. He'll say something that entirely isn't obvious. He does think on an incredibly high level.
Because my opponent moused over this card for about half a second, 7 turns before I should have known it was something like it's genuinely as crazy as that.
But it's why he got so good. He's beaten himself
Yeah.
up consistently for 3 years, and that is why the incredible amount of self-analysis that he does has led to him being this great player that he is now. You don't just do it overnight. You do it by rinse and repeat and work out what went wrong and do it again. And I think the only time that it's ever a bad thing that he does that is maybe in double elimination tournaments, where he struggles to let it go sometimes. So he's still thinking about the mistake he made 3 games ago when
Yes.
it should be.
Yeah.
That is just maybe the one little weakness he has.
But now just popping back to this game for a second, Yala on 9 remaining health. He does have a timeout available, but really not that much else going on. This turn may have to be Flash of Light, Novice Engineer timeout, just to try and get those vital tools for the next few turns. If he can just draw a Shivala, which could be played with Satharova, then maybe he's got a shot here. That Consecration can't be played with anything at the moment. It doesn't clear the board.
You can ping your own Acolyte as well and still have enough mana for the timeout.
Yeah, that's nice. That's slightly better, I think. Rather play a 3-mana Acolyte with 2 draws than a 4-mana Novice with 1.
Well, double Consecration's something.
It's almost good enough.
Yeah, there.
That's the second invoke, though. 2 invokes later, and Galakrond will be ready in big boy form.
Yeah, and invoking the Acolyte is so very tempting anyway. Just to deny that card draw. Well, they have lethal on board, so they don't need to develop anything else. Actually, gotta take care of the Acolyte.
Not quite any way that Hunter Ace can mill Yala. But hitting the Acolyte twice would mill Yala, but I don't think there's any way to do that.
I think they're trying to work out, well, we're going to waste some 2-1s here. Do we care? And Hunter Ace cares. He cares about every point of damage he can get.
Power double the storm.
Alright, well Yala now has Zephyrus, which I expect is active. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. Second Flash of Light, yep. Still no Shivala drawn, so yeah, if the double hit on the Acolyte was possible, and if the next draw was Shivala, could have just ended the game immediately. But
Oh, Zephyr's Twisting Nether is something that springs immediately to mind here, but then you have to kill the Albatross.
it does, and that is a little frustrating. Is there a better way about doing this? I don't think so.
And you
Wait.
absolutely know that Galakron's in hand.
Sorry, Zephyrus into Frost Nova is just better, isn't it? If he can manipulate his mana, which it looks like is what he's doing, and go Zephyrus, Frost Nova, and it was Shivala. The next card was Shivala. So Yala had set up that board in such a way where it was very unlikely that Hunter Ace would be able to hit the Acolyte twice. But if Hunter Ace was able to hit the Acolyte twice, this game it would have been Shivala that was burned. Anyways, back to the point. It is going to be Zephyrus to Frost Nova by the looks of things, assuming it gets offered. It doesn't.
Well, thanks, game.
Oh no, and the rope is burning!
I mean, yeah. That's harsh. Super harsh.
Oh no!
Yeah, I don't understand sometimes.
You can tell they expected the Frost Nova because there was a long pause when that Zephyrus was played.
And the real big deal here now is that Norway can play 8/8s onto the board. Whereas before, they'd only be able to put 1 down as well.
Yala and Fieli need to go away and do some Zephyrus math after this game.
I think Zephyrus needs to go away and do some Zephyrus math, to be honest. Although the flavor text on Zephyrus basically tells you that it's always your fault. something along the lines of you didn't know you wanted this or something. Basically saying it's not my fault, it's your fault.
Fair comment.
The storm approaches.
Even then, did you see the way Hunter Ace paused there, just to work out to make sure that hitting with the Death Rattle one was the correct one to attack with? In case there was some reason that hitting with the other one would be the right reason.
And the man thinks about everything when it comes to this game, and you know his results have shown for them. His results speak for themselves. It shows how valuable his processes are.
So, is there any way at all here that Czech Republic can even try for a lethal? No. So they somehow have to not die to a board that says you're going to die.
Well, they can try for a lethal, right? They can go Zeph, double Holy Wrath. Double Banker Holy Wrath. That's a 1 in 6.
That's not lethal, right? Unless I'm going crazy.
Oh, sorry, no, you're right.
Yeah, for some reason the Shaman's taken not even chip damage. It's like actually gained health.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to go for the board fight.
It's going to have to be the Sathrovar play, which is obviously insanely powerful. Yala is healing for 14 and dealing with 2 of these minions, if not 3. Probably does decide to go with the third here, just for the extra heal, if not for the extra kill. Because yeah, it's still lethal without this attack, and he does make the attack. There's still 21 damage on the board, but Yala now has 27 health.
I mean, what I was saying about attacking with a Death Rattle minion or not, like last turn. I mean, it was the right one. It was obviously the right one. But if he had made the mistake and attacked with the other one, he would now only have 1/8/8 on the board.
Yep. This is a dicey game, and Czech Republic are very close to just running away with it.
Yep, the tempo play has sorted this out. I think that Norway have saved these invocations for this particular situation. They've had plenty of chance to use them on other things, like on the Acolyte that would have stopped a card draw earlier.
So, Ancestral Spirit with Faceless Corruptor is very, very strong. So, Hero Power for a 2/1, turn that into a 5/4, give it Ancestral Spirit, trade it in, trade in the other 5/4, trade in the other 5/4. So, yeah, Hunter can deal with the entire board, except now, because he doesn't have enough mana. Oh, no, he does.
Yeah, there's... I know, I'm sure the Shamans get like 17 mana a turn or something.
He's even going to hold on to the Spirit and play it on the 8/8 rather than a 5/4. So rather than getting the extra attack now, he's trying to guarantee board dominance in the long run.
Yeah, and lethal next turn. There's Albatross, man.
But Yala has Shrink Ray Consecration.
Yep.
And I think that just ends the game.
I mean, it looks good. Do you Consecration? Do you just Shrink Ray to stop the 8/8 respawning?
Move quickly.
I hope you like my invention.
I mean, Yala's so calm when the rope's burning. If that's me, there's mouse and cards and all sorts of things flying everywhere by now.
So after all of that, it is just going to be the Shrink Ray, and with only 3 damage on the board, and then 5 damage with the weapon, so 8 damage total, that is still 6 off of lethal.
I love how he plays the Albatross after the Shrink Ray, just to get the ordering correct, even though it doesn't matter at all.
But is this... This should be lethal next turn, right? Oh, not quite. They don't have the mana to do the full combo. The full double combo.
Yeah. Andre's trying to work out here if the route to victory is to play this now and just have some board presence, or to draw Mutate next turn, if there is a next turn, and high roll Ragnaros or something.
Don't forget, when the 1/1 Death Rattle dies, it becomes an 8/8.
Yep. Look at that, 15 health, 17 on board. He knows that some of this isn't going to last because he knows basically the entirety of the Czech Republic hand.
If Jarla doesn't draw Shivala, I think he just has to go for it.
I think Chrisology will get the second Albatross unless I miss an Albatross somewhere.
Yes, that sounds right. So Chrisology costs 1 mana. It reduces the cards in deck to 2. Jarla could then double Holy Wrath to guarantee at least 1 Shivala hit. And then, I guess, just play the Shivala, banker it twice, and win through board presence. I do like the double Holy Wrath face this turn.
Let's do the first one, see what happens.
Okay, second one it is then. Second one, get the Shivala, hit something with it. And banker.
Seems good. Does seem good. You've got to gain health or kill something because you could be dead to Sludge Slurper buffs.
Like, you win anyway, right? You don't need to win with the combo specifically. Just deal the 25 damage now, get it banked, down to 6 health, play the Shivala, heal back up, you're not dead next turn. And next turn, there's plenty of different ways to deal damage. Jarla should just win this, unless Hunter Ace draws maybe exactly Shadow Walk this turn. And even then, I'm not sure if that's good enough.
Yeah, Sludge Slurper into Spell into something.
Exactly, Wind Fury. Wind Fury would have been lethal.
Okay.
Sludge Slurper into Ethereal Lackey into Wind Fury on the 8/8, 8/16,
There we
21 with the Claw, 22 with the other 1/1. So there you go. There was a lethal out for Hunter Ace. He didn't get it though.
Yeah, no way of delivering lethal, no way of gaining health, and Consecration True Silver in hand. And that is going to be a win for the Czech Republic, showing how good this Paladin deck is. It's only been the last 3 or 4 turns where they really looked like they had any sort of, not chance, you've always got a chance, but any sort of handle on how this game was going. Their opening hand was really poor, and Norway's hand was pretty good.
Almost every team has brought this deck, Lorinda. Almost every single team, and there is a reason for it. It is very clearly one of the best decks in the pre-nerf meta, and probably in the current meta as well.
Plays the Albatross just as a BM. Followed by a Happy Feast of Wintervale. And taking that 2-1 lead. Czech Republic on the verge of getting into the upper bracket final.
Big win for the Czech Republic indeed. And again, Czech Republic, former HGG winners, you know. Imagine being the first country to get 2 wins in the Hearthstone Global Games, 2 overall wins in the Hearthstone Global Games. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and this whole group actually has players I would like to see win something. There's Faley for Czech Republic. I mean, Jarla's won it before. I'm not against any of the players I don't mention. Dead Draw for the United Kingdom. Very much deserves a win. Freddy B for Denmark very much deserves a win. And NTR for Norway. These are players that have been around a long time. They're very strong and haven't really had that big pickup. The other players I didn't mention have won at least a major somewhere along the way. Hunter Ace World Champion, Fury Hunter, DreamHack Summer, Ball Control, Seat Story. And obviously Jarla has won this before.
Well, now we flip the matchup the other way around, and it's going to be Hunter Ace on the Shivala OTK Paladin. And if we see Hunter Ace win this one, that's pretty bad for Shadowwalk. Sorry, not Shadowwalk. For Galakon Shaman this series. Galakon Shaman is really struggling at the moment.
Yeah, and that's kind of where you're at when you're the best deck. Yeah, you're there to be shot at, and the reason you can't counter it with a lineup is because there weren't 3 decks that countered it. But certainly, like you say, it's struggling because it is being shot at by all of the other decks in the format to some degree. It's the meta-defining deck. Which does make New Zealand's call look better and better about the Holy Wrath Paladin counters. They just couldn't quite get the decks to do what they needed them to do.
Right.
Yep. That shows you what this deck's about if you didn't know already. You don't care about gaining 4 health. Sometimes it's very handy. You care about getting straight through this deck as quickly as you can.
Give me
We're going to
cards.
be saying that a lot. Yeah. Cards and more cards. And to some extent, the Shaman deck's the same, but it's only trying to get to one specific card. The Manatide Totem is just not a card that functions in modern Hearthstone, usually. It's too slow, 0-3, blah, blah, blah. With more and more minions populating the board these days, Manatide just doesn't survive on the board. Whereas in the olden days, you might protect it for 4 turns.
So Fairly has all of these previously unnerved cards, these Corrupt Elementalists, these Mogu Flesh Shapers, all in the hand ready to go, and it feels like he's going to get some pretty strong turns over the next few turns. That Mogu is going to be out sooner or later, and that Galakron is going to be ready to go on turn 7 in all of its glory.
Yep. Paladin's had a lot better start, though, than it had before the Czech Republic. Rifling through the deck really quickly. Or at least ready to rifle through the deck really quickly. Hit a bit of a wall now, though. And actually hit more than a bit of a wall, it's hit a pretty big wall.
I wonder.
It's one of those hands, in fact, where if your opponents could see it, they just play all their minions and kill you in about 2 turns.
I must move quickly.
Let me flee.
Very unpleasant looking hand. Oof.
One shot, one
Not even able to play a relevant spell to start lowering the cost on Chevalier in case you need to dump it on the board as an emergency.
No, Hunter-Race is going to have to play very patiently here, but unfortunately for him, Fairly, the power plays again. It's Dragon's Pact this turn into Corrupt Elementalists and potentially Mogu next turn into Galakron on turn 7. Full aggression. But with Wild Pyromancer drawn now for Hunter-Race, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Whenever he wants to pull the trigger on that, he can go Pyromancer Equality or Pyromancer Subdue.
Let me think.
Maybe this turn you just subdue one of the 5/6s and trade into it rather than waste the pyro and try and get a slightly bigger hit on it.
Yeah, it looks like he doesn't agree. I thought for a minute he was agreeing.
But that's fine too, just equality and double trade, that's fine. You don't even need to play the Pyromancer that way.
Yeah, you need to make sure you can deal with the 8/8s when they come, because they will be coming sooner rather than later, you know this. So keeping back as much as possible, but this is fine. Failure has the choice between the power play or the slightly more mana efficient play. Needs to work out which turn he wants to play Galakron as an 8/8 and basically make sure that he's not mana inefficient, doesn't maybe miss a turn because of that.
Double the power, double the storm.
Not bothering to make the double trade, obviously. We'll have another charge minion, rush minion next turn if he needs to.
Reporting for duty.
Like, as if you didn't know your opponent had Galacon anyway, every single player just hovers over their Galacon to check it's active every single time. You can always tell which card it is in their hand.
I mean, that's something the players are going to exploit over time if it continues like that. I imagine they'll get better at not doing that. You know, the players will come to remember how many invokes they've done, or at least come to recognize which picture of Galacron means that it's fully upgraded.
Yeah, and we'll get the player who at some point turns the tables and hovers over a card that isn't Galacron because they haven't got it.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to. There's always somebody who gets away with something crazy like that.
Just keep hovering over a little wisp in the corner of the hand or something.
Well, that's the turn that Huntrace was happy to get out of the way, killing the 8/8. Now you just got to hold on and hope that Shudderwock doesn't turn up.
I mean,
amongst all the other nonsense.
Yeah, frankly, Shudderwock is just one more board of 8/8s, which sounds powerful. It sounds ridiculous to say just another board of 8/8s. But the thing is, Huntrace has the ability to play timeout a couple of times, probably clear one more board. And with that prismatic lens in the hand, he is going to start to motor through his deck very soon. So fairly, he needs to get a move on here and create some damage here. There you go. That'll do it. Kronks is a fantastic draw. Just summon an 8/8. So a 1/1, a 6/6, and an 8/8.
Yeah, that's plenty.
That represents a good board. That's awkward for Huntrace to know whether he needs to put the resources into killing or not.
I mean, it represents 20, which he absolutely needs to kill.
Yes, true.
What if the storm approaches?
20 is plenty.
You're doing the poet thing again. You were doing that yesterday with Darak. I thought I'd escaped.
How about a new eye? How about a new eye?
Fairly disagrees, though.
He often does.
Doesn't put down lethal damage, but he has got Kronks next turn, which is an extra 5 burst damage at any point. Maybe that's why. Maybe he values the surprise 5 damage as just that little bit better.
Yeah,
or even the buff,
versatility
the
as well.
+2/+2 buff. Yeah, yeah.
Because it's still a board that needs to be dealt with. And oddly enough, Shaman struggles to deal with the 1 damage now the Elven Archer's gone. So it's almost as powerful as putting down the 8/8 in some ways. It still represents lethal.
Let me think.
Without actually giving up your 8/8. Into the fascinating part now of timeout management. Well, I find it fascinating anyway.
I must move.
It's definitely the hard part of the deck. Timeout management and when to go tempo Chevrolet. They're the two tricky
It's a great display of why timeout is quite a lot weaker than ice block used to be. In that ice block, you didn't need to manage it. You put the ice block on the board, it would proc when it needed to proc. Then when it does proc, you put the second one on the board and you don't think about it anymore. Timeout, you actually need to time correctly, or you could just lose the game.
Yes, and I think that's a much more balanced card. It doesn't feel balanced when you're getting timed out twice in a row, but it's a much more balanced way.
I just want to hit you with my things.
Indeed. And Shaman has a lot of things. And they've almost kept pace on cards until the last couple of turns. Both in hand and left in deck, they're down to 14 versus 9. Saying that more for our benefit than the people viewing, because we can't see one of them. I have to check on the stream to find out the right cards.
Right, so Kronks is an extra 6 attack in addition to everything on the board, so still not looking like lethal yet. It's actually 1 off, isn't it? Yeah, Kronks is actually 1 off lethal, so I guess you just do it.
I make it 2, but sure. I can't add.
Well, Lorinda, I make it 1.
Oh, with the buffs, yeah, I was waiting to do 5 damage.
Oh, sure, fair enough.
No, it's not fair enough. I'm wrong. You're right. Pains me to say it.
Well, you won't have to very often.
I think because whenever I played Kronks, I'm so desperate that the 5's always gone face. I've never got the boards to buff.
Yes, granted. I mean, I was looking at the 5 damage, originally thinking that was the way he's going to go, but I don't know. I often forget about the +2/+2. Whenever most of the time when Kronks gets played, at least in my experience, it ends up being deal 5 to everything.
That too, yeah.
Or rather, all other minions, to be precise.
Let me think.
Timeout number 1 is used. Spells will be played. Concentration played just to get the Kevlar down to 0 as much as anything here. In case that looks really weird. One of the key things the Paladin deck is not to waste that mana, so you can just constantly tick away Chevalier. It's not by accident, it's always on 0 when we reach this stage of the phase. Stage of the phase?
Stage of the phase? What are we on about now?
Come on, wake up, Neil.
Okay.
Yeah, this phase of the game, it's always at 0, and that's partially because these players always do weave in spells. You just sort of ignore it and expect it to be at 0, but if you play the deck yourself and you get a bit too greedy, it might not be at 0 when you get here.
Such a frustrating position. I mean, if you've played against OTK Paladin, you've experienced this. You've been there with your opponent on 1 health, but timed out, where you literally can't do anything about it. You know there's a Shivala and a Sathrovar in the hand, ready to basically fully restore your opponent's health.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about it. So frustrating.
What you can do is say, we're going to kill you if you do that, or try to.
Well,
this large number of things.
That's exceptionally difficult because Shivala into Sathrovar into Shivala again. That's 7, 14, 21 damage of lifesteal while taking out the 3 most powerful minions. So goodbye Shield of Galakron, goodbye Faceless Corruptor, and goodbye Kronks. That leaves 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage on the board, which simply isn't enough.
Yeah, but apart from the damage and the health gain and the minion removal and the lifesteal, what have the Romans ever done for us, Val?
10 damage available. It's just not enough. Shudderwock would be 5 damage, as it would generate another claw.
Yeah, you trade some things in, play Shudderwock, get some 8/8s, kill the board, and then do it all again with no Shudderwock the turn after. Great. Not ideal. A lot of this matchup over the next day and a half, I should imagine. And I know the Paladin is regarded as the counter, but they made it look easy. I mean, Czech Republic had, I'm sure, a pretty bad hand, and it still got it done. It's going to be interesting if the Shaman can ever get it done.
I agree that they have made it look easy. I guess it's because the Shaman in the early game, although tends to be quite overwhelming for most decks, they are just putting out a bunch of weak 2/1s for the most part with the odd mutated card. And then they put out a few huge boards, which I guess the Paladin is able to deal with. And oh, look at that! And then you know, they just lose because of timeouts into the combo. That being said, the game isn't over yet. Hunter should be able to go Zephyrus and Twisting Nether next turn, which does prevent the lethal.
Yeah, Zephyrus is active. I thought he was active, and then you always have that sort of moment where you think, I think he was active?
Yeah. Could go Zephyrus into... She could go Novice into Zephyrus into Blizzard, but I actually think dealing with this board in its entirety is probably slightly better. Just nether it, get rid of it.
Yeah, that's my feeling as well. See what Hunter Ace and NTR are feeling.
Shadow Flame into Consecration also does the same thing, but I guess... all it does is it means the Zephyrus stays alive, but it means you also have to use your Consecration. It's a tough call, actually.
Take Brawl and win it is obviously the best play.
I mean, yes, you're not wrong.
But given that we have no control over RNG effects... Nope, not ethereal. You know there's a consecration. Actually, there's 7 cards. If you don't know there's a consecration, you strongly suspect there's a consecration. So maybe you do just go wide here and hope they don't have it. Got to find the outlying chance that maybe you win the Hearthstone game by accident.
By accident. Lorinda, I can't win a Hearthstone game on purpose. I don't know about by accident.
Yeah, I've got more chance of winning one by accident, pretty sure, these days. Oh, there's Chevalier, just in case anything was going to get a bit fruity with the board. Now it's not going to get fruity at all.
So Consecration alone does the most of this, but does leave 10 damage, which is a little scary.
I hope you like my invention.
Ah, okay. That's solved. Consecration plus the Hammer of Wrath will deal with everything.
Don't spoil Huntrace for choice, for goodness sake. Well, he had a perfectly good plan lined up already. Now he's got to think about the good options.
Wow.
Yeah, back to the original plan.
So I guess he's decided that actually allowing Fairly to get him down to 9 is just that little bit too risky, and so using Shivala to deal with the 5-3 instead guarantees his safety, although obviously Huntrace will have to shuffle this Tiger back into the deck.
Yeah, it does a lot more than just the little swing as well. It deals with the weapon. Puts you back to 21. The weapon really has to go into Chevalier nearly always here.
And that puts Fairly down to 24. In which case, Fairly's going to need to try not to put the weapon into Shivala because he doesn't want to die to a single Holy Wrath if he can possibly avoid it.
Right.
So I guess Dragon's Pact, give one of them Rush, trade it in, or just create a bunch of 2/1s with the Maniac and the Hero Power, trade those in. There's options here.
Yeah, has he got anything else to Earthshock in the rest of the game as well? Maybe you want to Earthshock their health gain from the Chevalier just to keep it at 21. It's like doing 7 to face if you look at it that way for 1 mana. I don't think there's any other legitimate targets. Maybe a Thanos, but who cares? Actually, gonna use it to kill something. Okay.
And it does successfully trade into everything as well.
Now they've got to do 30 to face.
Or just outlive the Shivala, the Holy Wrath, and the Shivalas.
Sure.
And Draconic Lackey could generate something quite good. Like, imagine if that summons the new Deathwing.
Actually, there's a lot of good things it can do. Yeah, the new Asera even.
New Ysera, Alexstrasza. A new Alexstrasza, specifically.
Oh, that card.
Yep.
We haven't had a chance to be sick of that card yet, but give it a month or two.
There's also a lot of dragons that say discover another dragon. Actually, I don't think any of them are shaman specific, though. So there are certainly good options. But here we go. Here's a Hail Mary. That's a miss. That's fine, though. There's still a second Holy Wrath in the deck. And down to 25. Oh, Electra into Dragon's Pack is really hard to pass up.
It really is. Timeout number 1 has been used. 4 cards in deck here for Norway. So 1 timeout will get them through 3 of those cards, I think. Because they have the Flash of Light, they have the Acolyte. That's 2 cards plus their draw step. I think they get to the end. So next turn they time out Flash of Light, Acolyte. Assuming the Acolyte then draws a card because it'll trade the turn after. They should get to the end of their deck the turn after before they get killed. I believe.
Oof, what is
Oof.
this load of rubbish?
I'm just thinking here, should they have not filled their board up here?
I was wondering that.
In case they got the dragon that puts you back up to 30?
So the argument you'd make is, should I have played Draconic Lackey first and then played everything else, which I think is...
Oh, it's Discover, so they can't get that. Yeah.
But which I think is definitely true. But yes. Oh, which means they couldn't get Ysera either. But the Alex Straza was still very much an option.
Yeah.
There weren't as many good outcomes as we thought.
There never are.
But it's looking like time up for Fairley. If he can't find a way to gain 1 health this turn, it's going to be over. And I don't see a way that he possibly could gain 1 health. There's no way he could mutate into a lifesteal rush and actually attack with it this turn. There's nothing.
Is there no mutate that gives you weird health?
Weird health?
Like gain 1 health at end of turn or something like that. Like a face version of the hot air balloon.
Oh, like you mean like restore a health to your hero at the end of the turn?
Yeah. Does that card really not exist?
Oh, my head! Lightwell. There you go.
Sure.
Mutate Draconic Lackey into Lightwell. But no, but it's the start of the next turn. It's the start of your turn,
So
not
it's
the end
too
of
late.
your turn.
Yeah.
So it'd still be too late. So Lightwell's no good.
It's time.
So what we're saying is it's going to be game number 5 foul in the first match of the day.
Waterbearer. The Priest 5/5.
There we go.
Got there.
I'm out of cards.
But yeah, we're going all the way to game 5 here, Lorinda. It's going to be Galakrond Shaman Mirror to end the series.
Yes.
What?
That is how it's going to be. So, even though the series has taken a while so far, I've got a feeling it won't take that long. Galakrond Shaman Mirror, with the Norway build with slightly different stuff in it. The Ancestral Spirits being the big difference. Whether that's enough, who knows?
Yeah, so Norway have Ancestral Spirit and, of course, the Badlock Albatross that we've mentioned. And instead, Czech Republic have a second Novice Engineer. I'm trying to see what else they have that's missing.
A second Earthshock, maybe?
No, only one Earthshock as well.
They've got an MC Tech.
Yes, so that accounts for 2 of the cards.
And Shield of Galakrond.
Oh, okay, Norway don't run Shield of Galakrond. Okay, interesting.
So Norway get there slower, but when they do get there, they get more 8/8s, is how we're looking at this.
When they get there, they get there.
But the main difference is, at this exact moment, actually, there's some big differences here. Czech Republic having the Galakrond, but Norway might get the early Mutate Mogu, which could make all the difference, as we know. But it needs to be good. Otherwise, they're going to get Galakrond dud.
Fairly on the defensive a little bit here, but able to freeze the 1/1 and value, well, not value trade, but trade into the 3/2, dealing with that board nicely. It's one of those matchups, Lorinda, where both teams are going to have to think about Mogu Flesh Shaper at all times. Because the moment you put too many cards on the board, that thing's going to go off.
Yeah, I think personally, when I played this matchup, I was less concerned than I was maybe in the Evolved Shamans, because the Mutate has so many good targets. Obviously, the Mogu's the best one. But even on some of the other cards, it's pretty good. There's so many cards with Battle Trifects in this new Shaman deck with the Invokes that you just mutate one of those. But yeah, you'd like to tiptoe around it if possible. No reason to tiptoe around it there, though. It's going to cost 4 anyway. 3's basically the same thing.
Yep. But I'd be very surprised if NTR didn't go ahead and play one and mutate it.
Yeah, you've got to win the game on the spot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or you get Harik the Bat.
Yeah, but you could put Ancestral Spirit on Harik the Bat, and then it's a 1/1 that revives itself as a 1/1.
Awesome.
That's no Harik. That's actually much better than Harik.
So is the totem. I'm not a fan of Harik. Just 0-2 totem is better than Harik as well.
Oh, better than Harik? Yeah, sure.
I've just learned to hate Harik over the last 3 months. I guess that serves me right for being a filthy shaman player. But...
Foul Lord Betrug, this card? Off the top of my head?
If there's one thing you know about me, Falk, it's that naming things.
I'm really bad.
My strength.
I'm really bad with card names of cards that don't see play very often, but like are very, very, you know.
It's annoying because when I used to play a lot of Arena, I
is.
could tell you the name of any card in the game at the time.
It's Foul Lord Betrug. I've just checked.
I wouldn't call that very bad. I was a bit better at it in the last meta, where everything's getting evolved into so often.
Sure, yeah.
Which means I should know this.
So MC Tech is definitely tempting for Fairly here as a sort of potential comeback mechanic. If you hit a 5-4, that's okay. If you hit Betrug, that's really good. Hit a 5-4, okay. Given that the Haunted Visions could be coined out, in addition.
Yeah, well, are you desperate enough that you're going to have to play your Galakond as a mini, non-scary destroyer of anything next turn?
A mini non-scary destroyer of anything.
There's so many things you want to do here that you just haven't got the time to. Like Electra into Haunting Visions is beautiful. Just a reminder, these games were played before the nerfs, ladies and gentlemen.
More invokes for Czech Republic there. That's really big, considering you were just saying they may have to struggle on and play an early Galakron there. Maniac drawn there, and a rush version of it summoned immediately thanks to Betrug. Can't complain about that little bonus. And Mogu able to be played for only 1 mana this turn. Less if anything gets played whatsoever.
Less if you play a card. Yeah, it's basically 0. Tempting to play Kronks just to get your Galakond up to date.
That's really tempting. It's a good turn to do it, isn't it?
Because I don't think people do this enough.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time I think it's quite difficult because you tend to be under a lot of pressure and you can't afford to give up the turn to play the Kronks to get the Galakond. But right now, NTR is ahead on the board. Gets the Mogu down as well this turn. I doesn't feel like there is a better turn to play the Kronks and draw the Galakond, honestly.
Big decision. The whole of this match, and therefore potentially the whole of HGG, will depend on what they do here. Yeah, why not just have a monster-sized board?
It's a shame Betrug doesn't summon a version of Galakond on the board with Rush.
I'm never letting you design cards, Falk. For the same reason they won't let me name them.
I'm friends with Cora, so you never know what's going to happen.
Good point. Then we can blame Falcone hashtag.
There is little time.
You just know that NTR is listening to Huntrace explain where everyone should go and why, even though it's not their turn.
Double the power, double the storm.
That's an amazing pickup there for NTR. I think they're a little bit behind on the Galakond stakes, so... pretty needed. They'll keep them massively ahead on board.
massively ahead on board, and that is the issue for the Czech Republic at the moment. This bet shrug is just out of control. Last turn it summoned a 2-2 for free. This turn a 3-3 for free.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I guess on the plus side that there aren't really bigger minions in the deck than that. There's Shadowwalk and Shield of Galakron, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, not even for Norway. Not even Shield of Galakron. Wow, Ancestral Spirit on 3-3, which was going to die at the end of the turn anyway. So
Right.
now it's back permanently.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of managing. This Ancestral Spirit has looked like a really good piece of tech in this deck.
It has.
That being
Wonder
said,
if-
they are missing out because of it. You know, on Galakron buffs and so on. So it's not straightforward.
I wonder if it's any good post-nerf.
If
Probably
it is,
not.
it'll be played soon. Yes, but I think post nerf deck's a lot slower. And this is more of a, weirdly enough, it's more of a fast card because you're looking to trade into things a lot quicker.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe it's okay.
Belly really needs to find a way out of this mess. Like, does it do enough?
Yeah. They've got a Shadowwalk on 9, so they want to be working back from there. What do they want to do before Shadowwalk? And the answer is way too much. Next turn, they do have Electra into the Dragon's Pack. So they could Dragon's Pack now and then Electra Dragon's Pack next turn.
Okay.
And hope things haven't got worse in the meantime. But things are going to get worse in the meantime.
If there even is a next turn.
If there is
Is that
next turn.
Shadowwalk? Oh my gosh, that's Shadowwalk! Shadowwalk hits the board as a 6-6 with Rush. That is a free kill on one of these taunts. Kronk deals with the other one, and then the other 11 damage on the board is 3 off lethal. Doesn't Galakron just make for lethal this turn?
If it's fully evolved, which it is.
No, even if it's not, it just trading in a
because
4-4.
the 2/4/4s, yeah. So
That's
one of
just
the 4/4s
lethal.
goes in, yeah.
Trade both 4/4s in, and then everything else goes face. That's going to do it. NTR and Hunter Race Norway take the first initial match in this group up against Czech Republic in what was a grueling long series. But wow, what a victory at the end of that. Fantastic version of Galakron Shaman. Although it struggled throughout the series, they got there in the end.
Yeah, and the Mogu early on really set the scene there. Czech Republic had the Galakron ready to go for most of the game, just couldn't ever spare the time to get things done, and that handed it over to Norway. Both Holy Wrath Paladins getting it done is one of the things we need to look out for through the whole of the rest of this tournament, though. The Shaman is seriously stuttering against that deck. But yeah, winning Shaman Mirrors seems like a good thing to do when you're both losing to Paladin.
Absolutely. We have got a lot more Hearthstone matches coming up today, though. We are one match in. We've got 4 more coming. Next up, it's going to be the second initial match of this group. It's going to be the United Kingdom versus Denmark. You don't want to miss that one, and it's coming up right after this short break.